Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be covering the newest episode of My Adventures with Superman. This week's episode takes a trip into the multiverse, like every bit of popular media created after 2019 needs to do apparently, and it does so thanks to the arrival of Mr. Mxyzptlk, who pops in on Clark and asks the hero for his help as Lois has been kidnapped. Of course, we know better, and it's quickly revealed that Lois has indeed not been kidnapped, and the Chaos God just wants Superman's help to break into a trophy room of the League of Lois Lanes, a group of multiversal protectors, all who are Lois Lanes or Jimmy Olsen's, who recently captured Mxyzptlk. But thanks to Monsieur Muller and the Brain's black hole from the last episode disrupting the multiverse, an opening to the show's universe was created, allowing Mixie to escape their prison. Mxyzptlk's plan is to use Superman to get something that was taken from him by the League of Lois's. That something is revealed to be the original Mxyzptlk's little bowler hat, which gives the god all his powers back and allows him to create all kinds of mischief. In terms of design, I absolutely love this world's Mixie design. It's new, it's different, and it taps into the show's anime roots, since now Mixie is just a Dragon Ball Z Kai imp. It is a great little design. On top of the Mxyzptlk story, Lois and Clark have decided to go on a first date, and Clark is kind of freaking out about it, trying to sort out the perfect first date free from Superman shenanigans. It's a fun little side plot that is a little predictable, as their date turns out to be the adventure they've been going on the entire episode, and it's something that Lois and Clark find that they both love about each other. Been done before, but it's really nice to have as well. As I said before, it seems like everything now must do the multiverse or time travel or different timelines nowadays, and this show is no exception. I am a little disappointed that they actually went this route so early on. That being said, I did enjoy its depiction of the multiverse, where there is a prime universe, a prime version of these characters and whatnot, as well as the implication that all of the animated shows, and I guess the animated movies, basically anything by the DCAU, is all in some way canon, all starting with the 1940s Fleischer cartoons, as we find out that Lois Prime, which is the Fleischer Lois Lane, is the one who discovered the multiverse and charted it first and created the League of Lois Lanes. It's a really cool way to kind of make everything relevant and canon in its own way. Unlike past episodes, which have also just been Superman fighting the big bad and maybe learning a new power, Clark, Lois, and Jimmy all get to have a tussle with Mixie and end up having an important role in his defeat. It felt really satisfying after last week's episode where the three kind of reconciled their differences and became better friends and work partners. Surprisingly, the multiverse story isn't really that centered around Superman, which you would think it would be, being that, you see different versions of Superman, which we do indeed this episode. There's some very fun little cameos from the animated series Superman and the Fleischer Superman, but this one is more of a Lois Lane-centric part of the episode, as we have the League of Loises, a group of heroic Loises who protect the multiverse, on top of being Pulitzer Prize winning reporters in their spare time. Our Lois feels a little bit out of the group, since she's a little older than most of these characters and still hasn't had a Pulitzer or has been recognized for her journalism. It makes her feel kind of like a fraud and not like a real Lois, and she tells Clark as much, and of course our Superman doesn't care, since she is the Lois for him, and they finally share their first kiss in a really touching moment. The writers also use the multiverse to plant seeds for Clark learning what Krypton and Kryptonite is, learning a little bit about each across the episode. It's just planting the seeds so he can go and investigate a little later on in the season. It also ends with a big teaser of Lois discovering that just like how not every Lois is the same, not every Superman is a hero, and because she dug through some files in the League of Lois's space headquarters, she discovers a piece of kryptonite, as well as some files, some video files that depict various evil Supermen, from the Justice Lords to what looks to be like an early design of Ultraman. Mixie of course lets her keep the kryptonite, knowing that something could indeed happen with her Superman and she needs to be prepared. I think it's kind of a cool way to introduce the green rock, and it's not the usual it fell from space when Clark's rocket arrived, or it's pieces of his homeworld that arrived a little later on and Addis Ababa and then Lex found it or a villain found it. I like that she got it from the multiverse, though it does, and it's just a pet peeve, it's not like a negative on the episode. I do know in canon kryptonite from other worlds doesn't affect, say, the Superman from Earth Prime because it's a different wavelength and frequency and whatnot, and different type of radiation and whatnot. So obviously they're not playing with those rules here, and that's totally fine. It can do its own thing. But I'm very excited that we've finally gotten kryptonite and what that will mean for Superman going forward. This week's My Adventures of Superman was a pretty cool adventure into the multiverse, even though I believe that has been totally played out thanks to movies like Across the Spider-Verse, Doctor Strange, No Way Home. Everyone seems to be doing the multiverse now because it's the hot new thing to do, and it's starting to get a little bit boring. But like everything else the show has been doing, it did it in a really interesting way, and a way that makes me question like what else is in this multiverse that they have created, with leagues of Loises and Jimmys and different Supermen that we haven't really seen all that much of lately. It's really interesting, and hopefully we get to touch on it a little bit more and expand on this version of the multiverse a little bit more later down the line. I'm going to give this episode a 9 out of 10, so definitely check it out. It's quite a bit of fun, and if you haven't already checked out the show by now, definitely check it out. We're just past the halfway mark. There's only 10 episodes this season, so we're quickly approaching the end, and season 2 should be coming up probably later on this year, if not the start of next year. So definitely check out My Adventures with Superman.